today with Allison. My name is Allison Shuhazi, and I will be your host. Thank you for joining me. If you don't know me, a little bit about me is I'm an intuitive transformational life coach. Now, what does that mean? That means number one, I'm a super fan of intuition. I'm highly sensitive. I understand the empath world. I understand being highly sensitive and an intuitive, meaning we see things, we hear things, we know things. And I'm also a super fan of transformation. Why? Because with change that we go through in life, we are transforming continuously. Hopefully, we are. And we're going to continue to transform into who we are meant to be if we engage in our life and stop conforming to what everyone else wants us to do. So, welcome. And now I'm embarking on a whole new project. This project, and for the next 24 episodes, I'm going to be sharing different ways for you to deepen the connection with yourself, which ultimately will help you deepen connections with other relationships that you have in your life. But the most important relationship that you're not taught to engage with and to sharpen and to soften sometimes is the relationship with yourself. And the topic that we're diving into, ooh, it's going to combine the spiritual depths and practical grounding aspects. It's called the realm of reality. And each episode will have a different topic to help you dive a little bit deeper to understand what your spiritual depth is and what that means to you, and also how to live your best life. Very high level that I'm talking about today, but in the coming episodes, we are going to narrow and zoom in. So let's get to this. Today, we're diving into something that might literally shake you up and help you see the whole world through new lenses. And of course, if you've been here before, you know I have a lot of questions. I always have questions. I always have something to ask. Why? Because I'm a coach. That's what we do. We ask a lot of questions. So here's the first one. Are you living in the realm of reality, or are you caught up in illusion of what might be? The mights, the shoulds. I call those should shields, right? You've been here for me to talk about those. So I'm talking about the space where perception finally meets the truth, where all the stories we tell ourselves start to dissolve and real, authentic clarity begins. This is where we wake up from the illusions we've been creating and living among and remember what's deeply, undeniably real. And reality isn't always fantastic. I get that. It's filled with a multitude, a bouquet of different emotions, a bouquet of different experiences, a library of pain points and limiting beliefs sometimes. But this is where we're going to begin to understand how to live in reality because we're no longer going to have those illusions and we're not going to make them up for ourselves and we're no longer going to make them up for anyone else. So think about this. How often do you catch yourself living in assumptions instead of awareness? Right? The assumptions or that anticipatory feeling you get instead of just the awareness of what is real. And how many times do you realize you've been avoiding something that's right in front of you, waiting for you to see it and experience it clearly? But yet, you're too busy worried about things that happened in the past that you can't change, or you're too busy planning everything for the future so nothing fails. Well, here we're going to talk about those things today and the next few weeks. We're going to spend so much of our energy outside, and now we're going to start bringing all of that energy back in. We're going to start reclaiming some power points that we have. And I can tell you I'm doing it right now for myself because I've been wanting and waiting to record this for a few days now. And today was the day I put it on my schedule to do. And what's happening where I live here in Little Rock, Arkansas, is we're finally having a fantastic storm. So there's lightning and there's thunder, and you might experience it with me because this is the realm of reality I am. And I'm no longer going to deny myself going forward, but I'm just going to use what I have. So I am actually walking the talk right now. So think about this. We spend so much energy running from reality, right? Creating elaborate stories about what could be, should be, or might have been when the truth is right here, right now, thunder and all. And today we're exploring how to ground yourself, myself as well, in the present moment, how to see clearly what is actually happening, and how to meet your life with the kind of awareness, honesty, and acceptance that bridges the gap between what you perceive and what's really true. Because here's what I know. I've learned many things in my 54 years of life. But it's time to stop denying your creativity, your intuition, and authentic joy. You deserve those things. All of us do. And it's time to start loving where you are right now, not where you think you should be, not where you're afraid you're heading, but exactly where you are in this very moment. So, let's talk about what it really means to live in the realm of reality. Here's the definition, my definition of the realm of reality. It is where perception meets truth, where stories dissolve and clarity begins. It's the space where we've awakened from illusion and remember what's deeply, undeniably real. So there's no going back. Once you start understanding some of these awarenesses, these methodologies that I'm about to teach you over the next 24 episodes, I will be really surprised if you're like, I'm going backwards. I want to get back to my illusions. I want to get back to the unknown. I want to get back to my assumptions and judgments and expectations. I'll be really surprised. So there's going to be 5 different sections. The first one, we're going to talk about the perception and awareness, like the difference between perception and truth, the belief systems that you carry every day, how they shape your experience of reality. Noticing if you're living in the assumptions or the awareness, the role of mindfulness and how that makes a huge pivoted role in your realm of reality. And definitely, I'm going to teach you how to break through the illusions. Next, we're going to go to truth and authenticity, which I really should have titled this section Truth and Vulnerability, because you cannot have authenticity or truth without vulnerability. So, I'm going to talk about vulnerability quite a bit in this section. We're going to touch on radical honesty, owning your truth, letting go of the right things, right? There are right things that are time to let go. Finding what courage means for you. I might have a different definition of courage than you do, but I'm going to help you understand how to define what that means for you. How to live aligned with your values in a distracted world. So much distraction, right? The next section, we're going to talk about emotional reality, feeling your feelings without overthinking them, emotional truths about factual experiences, how to resolve emotions in the current reality, and using emotional discomfort as a guide. Because if you've been here again with me, if you get uncomfortable, if you're fearful, to me, that is a point where a flag is put in your life that you need to pause and dive deep because there is gold buried in those pain points. Next, we're going to do body as a truth teller. The body is huge, so much. Think about a moment that you've had, and you could literally experience it in your body. Your heart might flutter, your throat might close up, you might get goosebumps. The body is a truth teller that we all have, and we ignore it because we overthink things sometimes. So we're going to talk about the body, how to interpret signals in the body, how to do some grounding practices so you can stay in this moment right now. Next, we're going to talk about spiritual and energetic reality. This is going to be kind of fun. This is where you get to bring in those beliefs that you have, right? The ones that you've been taught and that have been appointed to you. And then you can sit back here and figure out what it is that you choose to believe going forward, right? What is the spiritual truth for you? That is not something for me to tell you what it is, or I feel anyone to tell you it is. I think it's yours to discover. So we're going to have a few episodes just on that. How the intuition reveals what is beneath your surface and connecting with the unseen without escaping the seen. So understanding really your unconscious and then connection to spirit. And I call this SHUG, spirit, higher power, universe, and God. And then finally, our practical integration. We're going to have 4 episodes alone on integration. I'm going to talk about living in alignment, daily practices to reconnect with what's real. Because guess what? In real life, life is lifing. And it's really hard to get off track with anything that we do, right? So, and it's called a practice for a reason. Then we're going to talk about making decisions from grounded reality instead of fear or fantasy, right? Those illusionary points that we are trying to avoid. And then we're going to end with sourcing clarity from stillness. So I hope you're ready to buckle up. I hope you grab your journal, maybe even get a brand new one and sit down, because every episode that I'm going to have will be filled with questions. You will be able to see it here on YouTube. You will be able to hear it anywhere you get your podcasts, because I believe in this process so much. Why? Because I know it works. I use this for myself. I use it with my clients, and I know if you are ready to invest in yourself in a whole different way, I believe that these processes can help you as well. So stay tuned for more. See you later. Bye-bye. This episode of Shift Today with Allison was created, directed, produced, edited, and written, and 100% done by Allison Chuhazi. That's me. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would subscribe, share this with a friend, rate and or review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and just end up having a beautiful day. See you next time.